Confidence doesn't come from affirmations, it comes from action.
Maybe my parents shouldn't hear this, but because you're so young, they don't treat you as seriously.
You know, people always say like businesses fail not because the product or service is bad, it's because the co-founders usually give up.
Do you have some fake it till you make it kind of tips?
When you send emails, instead of like 보내드립니다,
성공보다.
it's like
문채요. 시작합니다. Hello everyone. Today I'm here with two absolutely amazing entrepreneurs. I've been with them from the start of their journey. They're doing so well. I'm so happy to have them here. They were actually in Korea and we met up and I asked them if they can be on the show. So welcome, Felix and Gene.
Yeah. Thank you for having us, Jasmine.
Well, thank you for being here. I know it was like very impromptu and very spontaneous, but I really wanted to have you guys on the show because I think that you guys are on an amazing journey. And I think it'd be great if you can kind of share that with the audience. And I think, we'll talk about, how you got interested in this. I know you guys are both computer science majors, so we'll talk about that as well. My mom always tells me, she's like, you have to be a CS major. Like, you need to know how to code. But with all this AI coming in, but you guys are going to CPG and you're working on an anti-hangover jelly, and now it's like a holistic wellness supplement brand. So if you can each intro yourself just casually, and then we'll get into the conversation. So
Yeah, definitely. I can start. Hey, I'm Gene. I'm a Korean American that was born in the Boston area. I'm also the founder of DayGuard with Felix here. It all started when I was a senior at Brown and I was studying abroad at Yonsei in Korea. This was fall of 2023. And, Felix and I have been best friends since our first week of school, actually at Brown. And he went to do military service in Korea. And while I was in Korea, because he was in the same place, we decided to hang out all the time. We'd go out together on weekends. And that's when we first encountered Condition, which is obviously the market leading like 숙취해소 stick in Korea. And, we both loved it. We're like, this needs to be at Brown, this needs to be in the States. And then we just, started from there. But before we go deeper into that, obviously, Felix should.
My name is Felix. I'm a rising senior at Brown University. Ever since I returned to school, I've been less involved with school, but more involved with entrepreneurship. Maybe my parents shouldn't hear this, but we have what this thing is called the open curriculum, where you can take a lot of your classes pass or fail. So I'm probably going to take most of my classes pass or fail, go to classes as minimum as possible, and really focus on building DayGuard, what we're about to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so when you guys started college, right, at Brown University, both of you guys, did you know or did you have a feeling that you would have your own thing, that you wanted to do your own thing? Or like, what was the mentality? And like, you guys are both CS majors. So what was it going in? What was it like going in?
Yeah, I think we've both always wanted to start something. Like we both had experience like tutoring after we got into college because it's a quick way to make cash and it's one of the easiest like business you can kind of start as like a high school student. And that I feel like was an entryway for both of us in some ways. Felix's parents are both entrepreneurs in real estate, and my grandparents, they immigrated to America and started like a dry cleaning business, and that's how they got their roots in America. So I feel like it's kind of in our blood in some way, as corny as that might sound. But once we got to Brown, I kind of got into computer science because all of our friends were doing it. Like it was 2021 when we got into Brown, and tech was super hot. Everyone was doing computer science. It's actually the most popular major at Brown. And so it kind of made sense to kind of start there because I knew it opened more doors down the road for entrepreneurship, but still didn't really know exactly what we wanted to do. I think what was like a seminal moment for me and Felix is that as college went on, we realized like, we enjoy tech and we enjoy computer science, but we're not like the most technical people. Like this isn't where our passion lies, and that it's more in like the business side of things. And even then we didn't have a business idea, but we decided a good place to start would be like consulting. I think Brown, a lot of people want to go into investment banking or consulting because it's a good place to get a foothold in industry and then also have like a lot of doors open afterward. And so we ended up founding a consulting club together called Brown Technology Consulting Group, which is one of the largest at Brown to this day and is still going strong. But I think after, Felix and I both interned consulting for a bit afterward, we realized we didn't love building this club because of consulting. It was because, we got our friends together. We were able to create like a team of 40 members, get like real world clients and build something from scratch. And that was very rewarding. By the time that I came to Korea to study abroad and Felix was doing his military service, the 숙취해소 stick, like the condition was kind of like the perfect, like, all right, we should bring this from Korea to the States and just, see where we can take things.
Yeah. And Felix, like, what was your journey like?
My experience was quite similar, but I think because I came from an international school background, everyone's really ambitious. So I could say, like most international school students, their childhood is engineered or designed so that they can get into the best 20 colleges in the States. And I was also in that way very competitive. Yeah. Like I had to make sure like all the activities I'm doing have like a central theme, like just so I could get into a good college and make my parents happy. Like that's, like parents have their clout, like, oh, my kid went to this. Like I was chasing that and we didn't go straight to college. We had like a gap semester. I think during that time, I really kind of reflected on what I really want to do. I think up until then, it was like, what do I want? What do my parents want? Like, how do I get into Brown? How do I get into these Ivy League schools? And then after I had that kind of realization when I went to college, there were still other people trying to ride that and continue that wave. So after getting into college, next is getting a prestigious job. And to do that, you got to get into a prestigious consulting club, banking club. I would say most international students, they aim for these 5 career paths. One is consulting, banking. They try to do dental school because it's hard. You can't get into medical school as an international student. Yeah. They also do law and so it's like those kind of career trajectory path. So I was considering doing that. Like, all right, let's best leverage my degree, graduate as fast as possible, come up with a 6-figure job. And then after my first internship, just as Gene said, I realized how unfulfilling it was. And I was like, when does this ever stop? Like, let's say even I get into one of those career paths, next would be like chasing for private equity now. Like, it never really stops. And I didn't want to have like a midlife crisis in my 40s and 50s where I'm like, oh man, I basically designed my life for this sort of like, it wasn't really fulfilling at all. So I was thinking, I'd rather have a quarter life crisis now, really think about what I want to do instead of just following that wave and path. So I think after starting DayGuard, it was the best thing in the world because it was the most fulfilling thing in the world. Like what I create, what I envision, it's in people's hand and like people enjoy it. And that was a really different feeling that I could never feel in consulting or any of these other internships, basically.
Now, what's really fun is for me is you're actually working a consulting job at the moment as well, though. You're working consulting. You're going to be working in an internship, right? In consulting. I started at Microsoft as well. Even if I had something entrepreneurial, I knew it was always in me. But somehow for me, I think we talked about this, I was super jaded by the Stanford startup culture. Like everyone's an entrepreneur, everyone creates games, everyone creates something, and then they just brand themselves as an entrepreneur. And for me, it just didn't make sense. Like I love the whole process. I love the curriculum that was teaching all of that, but that just wasn't me. Now, for you guys, I think you guys knew, and like from the first internship, you guys knew that consulting or like this like corporate way was not yours. But what was the reason why, for example, you went into the job and you're still in the job and you're going into it as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we both have like similar but also different reasons. I don't have to deal with like getting a work visa in the States, fortunately, because I'm an American citizen. For me personally, I think consulting made sense because I graduated last May, and at that point, DayGuard was still in a bit of an ideation phase. Like we're still working with our manufacturer to really cement our product formula, our packaging, and also have it shipped to the U.S. And so we were pre-revenue. And, the other door was to go to medical school, but I didn't feel like I was ready for that just yet. So I decided I'm going to take a gap year. I have a good consulting offer in New York, a city that I've always wanted to live in. And so I think it'd be a good time to, go to New York, feel what that life is like, build a network out there, and also have some money coming in the interim while we build up this company a bit more. I really have no regrets about that decision at all. I think it would have been a bit too early if I had just done DayGuard full time with no product and no revenue coming. It's a little hard to justify to my parents. But I think now, we did a soft launch in January with our product. It finally came in from Korea. Revenue has been very strong despite very little marketing spend on our part. We've just cleared over 50K. And now I'm in a position where okay, I have a ton of conviction in this company. I always have, but I feel like now the numbers are backing it up. And it kind of matches up with my timing with my lease ending in New York in August, coming to my 1 year at my consulting firm in August as well, that it'd be a good time to quit and then just go full time on DayGuard, which has always been my passion in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You, Felix?
For me, it's simply just because of the visa constraints. Because I'm an international student, I need to find a good enough job if I want to live in the States that would sponsor my visa. And because my ultimate goal is to do business or entrepreneurship in the US, if I want to at least stay in the US, I need a backup plan to just stay there and work, just in case.
Well, I know this is a sensitive question, but if you want to go full-time DayGuard, what's the visa situation? A lot of Korean entrepreneurs are right now looking into going to the US market. And I think that's probably a question that everyone's kind of asking.
So if there's multiple different ways. One way is you can get a student visa, like an F1 visa, and you have your OPT and CPT, which is career training. So the US government gives you, if you have a US degree, to work in the US for up to 1 to 3 years. And you can use that to build your startup.
I see.
But usually, I heard it's only your first year that you can use. You can be self-employed. So basically, I have 1 year after I graduate to really make DayGuard work. And if it doesn't work during that time, another thing I can do is pursue a master's and refresh that, because you can get it for each degree level.
Okay.
So it's that, or I recommend people getting an O1 visa, like a visa for excellence. I'm sure there's so many talented people in Korea with great startups, venture backed, that they can take to the US with an O1 visa and work there. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I want to jump into how we got connected as well, right? Because I think everyone's kind of just okay, you're not a Brown alum, you're not the same age as them. How did you get to know them? And for me, it was a very fun experience, because when I start writing on Substack and things like that, people do reach out, but it's not regular. It's not always genuine. There's sometimes it's just a lack of context. But I did get a message from Gene, right? On LinkedIn. So what was your thought? What were you doing back then? What was going on? I love the energy, which is why, I was so happy to connect.
Yeah, no, obviously it worked out, and we've loved staying in touch with you. Jasmine has been an amazing mentor for us all throughout. So I'm really glad that, I shot my shot on LinkedIn. But I think at that point, we were still getting an idea of what this space looks like, both in Korea and in the States, the whole hangover remedy space. And so at the very beginning, we decided, before trying to create a product and take samples to customers, we just wanted to talk to competitors in both countries. Jasmine had wrapped up some work at Hanjan, and Hanjan is another Korean jelly stick that's manufactured in Korea, brought to the US and kind of catered to the US audience. And they were one of the earliest movers in the space. They had some early traction, popping social media, and that immediately caught our eye. So Felix and I took it upon ourselves to, go on LinkedIn, see who was working in the space at these companies, and try to understand what their success stories were, what failures they had, what we could learn from that experience, and try to identify if we should also continue in this direction. I think it was even more meaningful for us to connect with you because you're also Korean who went to college in the States. You've had your own plethora of startups and also doing things on your own, and we really looked up to that. And so we just wanted to hear a candid experience from someone who had worked in the space and had so many shared commonalities with us.
Yeah, I love that, because sometimes when you start a company, you don't want to talk to competitors. I don't know, a lot of people are just I'm not going to talk to a competitor. What if they take my idea? What if they take our competitive advantage, or vice versa? I guess if I was working for the company and if I hadn't moved on, it would have been harder to do it. But, it's just you muster up the courage to do it, and you're ready to just explore. I think that's something that everyone needs to do. And I need to start doing more. It's because I really genuinely believe that people are libraries, right? So you learn from them. How else are you gonna learn, right? So I think that was quite amazing. And it was so fun to see how you move from stage to stage. And I know like every single month, like we would have a check-in call and you'd be like, okay, we want to try this out. And the next month you actually try it out. I think that's something very different. Like you think theoretically that's what you have to do, theoretically. But I think a lot of people get caught in their thoughts and never really move forward. And I think, you know, for a lot of people to order a batch of products from Korea all the way here, that's not like something that people just do out of a whim, right? Like it's a scary process. It requires capital and all of this, right? So how did you guys like come to the decision and get the courage to actually do it?
To your earlier point, by the way, like talking to competitors, want to quickly talk on that. I think like a philosophy we have is like, you shouldn't really think about your competitors too much. Like you should focus on creating the best product or service possible. And then you use your competitors as a reference to just get information on how to develop that into a better and better, end product. As for your question on like, the courage piece on how do we like actually like break through the seal. I mean, Felix did a lot of it because we had to speak in Korean, and full transparency, I'm not the most fluent in Korean, but it just came down to interviewing as many manufacturers as possible, getting fluent in their language, understanding exactly what we had to look for in terms of like the ideal manufacturer. At first, we were really scared because, we thought they might take our idea and run with it. We thought they might try to swindle us for cash. We just really weren't experienced with international business or working with like larger conglomerates. But as we interviewed, I think we interviewed over, I want to say like 75 different OEM, original equipment manufacturers.
Just in Korea?
No, all over.
All over. Mainly in Korea and the US, but like we looked all over the world because we wanted to find one that had the best manufacturing capabilities, who had the best speed to market, the best minimum order quantity because we were balling on a budget, and someone that we could genuinely trust, who wouldn't just take our IP, take our idea and kind of run with it. And after, I want to say like even 10, 15 of these calls, you do like develop a muscle for like talking the business lingo, understanding who's like being more genuine, who's not, and who's going to offer you the best terms down the road. And so I don't think there's any real way to get over that fear other than just doing it yourself and kind of learning as you go. But
yeah, I think I agree. I think the mental part of it, I think because I grew up in Korea, I was also very scared. Check a startup, like maybe I just take the safe route, do the consulting, and should just get that job and just live in the US. But I think what I learned from Gene a lot is he has a lot of confidence. And I think I've learned a lot from that confidence, and that confidence builds up as you do the work. So the more calls we had with the manufacturer, the confidence built. So at the start, you kind of have to just start with an irrational confidence that because I know this is going to work, like we are the people to do it. Like you start off with that, but it kind of becomes more rational as you work through the process. So I recommend everyone to just do it, as cliche as it sounds.
Yeah, I think a big motto we have is that confidence doesn't come from affirmations, it comes from action. So you generate confidence by creating a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. And so it's not like looking in the mirror and saying like, oh, Gene, like you're this entrepreneur and you're smart. Like it comes from like, if you're studying, like hitting the books, being in the library, like getting your education. If it means doing business, it means like sending cold outreach emails, like hundreds, thousands of them, LinkedIn messaging people like yourself, like talking to manufacturers and really like holding that muscle and understanding like, yeah, I can talk to these people and like, I do have something to bring to the table and we can do something that no one has ever done. It just happens like as you really work at a goal with discipline, I think.
Yeah. And I think one other thing that a lot of people who are trying to start their own business talk about is co-foundership, right? Co-foundership. So it's like matchmaking a lot of the times. Like you have to have a good, strength and weaknesses. Sometimes you got to tiptoe over. Sometimes you got to, confront each other. So like, I mean, I know you guys were friends, but like going to business is something different. I also often say like, be careful going to business with your friends. So like, what was it like? Like, how was it like starting this business? Like, what were you looking for in your partner?
It's funny you mentioned that because I always tell people, like, if you start a business with a co-founder, it's like a marriage, and you have a child.
You guys are married technically.
Yeah,
you guys are
I don't know
like,
where the ring is,
married.
but you know,
yeah.
we,
Where's the ring, Felix? Where's the ring, Gene?
Yeah, we've got our bracelets.
That's
at
nice.
DayGuard
I
store.
love that. but there's no perfect partner. But this partnership, like, what were you guys thinking inside your heads? I'm sure you both are different, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think before we even started, like, I try to consume a lot of content from Y Combinator and different podcasts on, like, starting a company, just generic advice. And one of the things that Michael Siebel, one of the partners at Y Combinator, which for context is like one of the most known incubators and accelerators in America, he really emphasized, like, you should have a pre-existing relationship with your co-founder. So you shouldn't just try to go on a forum and meet them and, like, see if they're credentialed. Like, you should ideally have, like, at least a few-year relationship with them, really know them in and out as a person, and ideally as a friend, or maybe in some cases a family member. Felix and I have been best friends since our first week of college. So we've had a foundation
I love this story.
for many years now. So I know exactly how he operates. He knows how I operate. Another big trend in Korea is obviously MBTI. We actually have the same MBTI.
What is it?
ENTJ.
Oh my God, brother.
You as well?
Hi. I think all entrepreneurs are ENTJ. Like, I have it, like, it's such a thing, you know?
It is.
Mhm.
It is, yeah.
But, you know, we're very like-minded people. We both have very similar values too, which are, like, you know, working hard, achievement, and then also family. And so I think those have always grounded us, like, in the same vision, the same kind of motivation to do what we want to do. And then also, obviously, you want to do a startup instead of doing the more traditional path. And it kind of just fell into place. We got lucky because the idea came to us when I was in Korea and he was doing his military service. It's a Korean product. We're very proud that it's a Korean product that we bring to the States, and it kind of just felt perfect. Like, we know each other for a long time. We've created this consulting club together, so we know what it's like to found stuff together. And then also Felix has, like, the experience rooted in being, you know, a born and raised Korean, and I have the experience of being Korean American. And it was kind of like the perfect duo for a business like this in particular.
I think that's important. Like, I do agree. Like, going in with a stranger is hard just for the sake of creating a company. It could become quite dangerous because you don't really have that connection, right? It's just based upon this idea of success. And if it's not there, then where do you go with it, right? So Felix, was it very similar for you as well?
Yeah. I think I just trusted Gene really well. Like, we've known each other for so long. I tell people, like, Gene is basically the Korean American version of me. Like, I know how he operates.
Yeah.
So, like, I think what another important, like, benchmark is if you value the relationship with your co-founder more than what you're creating together, then that means that you found a good one. So, like, I'd rather keep the relationship with Gene and keep DayGuard. If DayGuard fails and the relationship goes on, that's what I'd rather choose than DayGuard doing well in itself, like, separately, basically.
Yeah.
So that's, like, a really important benchmark, I think. So you just gotta really, really trust that person. You gotta feel like family, like, more than best friends, I think. Like, my parents love Gene. Like my mom's Kakao profile at one point was, like, Gene's gift with, like, a letter.
Aww.
Yeah, and, like, Gene's parents always invite me for, like, Thanksgiving or Christmas. We spend that together. So I think there is that very deep-rooted trust that, like, things will work out together.
Yeah.
And, like, let's say we have, like, a business conflict, like, I know how Gene operates, so I think we know how to communicate to each other. Obviously, it was a transition from being friends to co-founders, but like, I think we figured out our communication style as well.
That's great. That's great. And as I move forward, like, things will happen. But I think, as you said, if you know how each other operates, you know how to navigate. Yeah.
Definitely. And, like, we've already agreed that we're going to do business together forever, you know? Like, we already know that we're going to do another business after DayGuard together, and then probably another one. Like, it's for us, it's not about, like, we obviously love DayGuard, but it's bigger than that, you know? And, you know, people always say, like, businesses fail not because the product or service is bad or that it's not, like, the market isn't ready. It's because the co-founders usually give up or they have a conflict. And, like, you know, like Felix said, like, I consider him a part of my family. You don't give up on family, right? So, like, I don't really see that being an issue.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So let's talk more about your first business. Now that you're going to have a lot of more businesses, right? So your first
That's the plan.
business, yes, your first business, DayGuard. So you got the product. Now, first of all, getting the product, I know there was like some challenges there as well. But like, just walk me through what happened since you guys, knew what you wanted to do. You gave all the calls to the manufacturers. Now you're starting the business. Now walk me through like step 1, step 2, what you guys were doing.
So first, I think we reached out to all of our potential mentors out there, including you, do our primary research, like the market size, like all that. And then if we felt like there was a market there in the US that was untapped, so we just went straight to contacting all our manufacturers, like 70 of them around the world. But because we're young and students, a lot of these Korean manufacturers didn't take us too seriously. But there were some that reached back. Like we had around 10 that reached back. So we kept those conversations going. And we basically, from that point, researched the formula. We looked into the top Korean products, looked at their formula, what ingredients are always in it. And then we drafted a rough formula. And Gene's dad is a doctor. So we reviewed the formula and then sent that formula over to those 10 manufacturers, got samples from all of them, and then tasted all of them, chose the best one with the best manufacturing capabilities, but that's fastest, that have experience like exporting products to the US. We chose one, manufactured it, brought it to the States, and started marketing and selling it on Amazon and our website.
So usually I like deep diving into the challenges because what I don't know, like some things that I see is people have this like fantasy of things going really well because people talk about the good parts because obviously that's what you want to talk about, right? But the realities are quite different. And I love talking about that because the fact that you're here means you were able to get over the challenges. You were able to overcome that. And I think that's really what builds resilience and what builds you to become, a serial entrepreneur. Right. So tell me about some like big challenges that until this time that you had and like how you were able to overcome that.
Maybe we can start with the trademark piece.
Oh, okay, yeah. The trademark piece. This was a bit of a nightmare, but obviously when you bring a product to market, you need to trademark the name to make sure that no one can infringe on it. And so, it was our first time really engaging with like a trademark or like even a trademark lawyer or an attorney in general. And so like there was a whole process of finding the right attorney. But once we did, we were like very confident that he was very capable and would do a great job for us. He ended up like writing up like an entire report on the name that we had chosen, which was called Day Saver at the time. Okay. This we had accrued through a lot of user feedback on what the name should be, and we were like very excited, like it's going to be Day Saver, like this is our company. And then he files the trademark report for us to the U.S. Patent Office, and this process takes a few months in order to finally get the trademark approved. But he filed the report on, I believe, like March 13th of 2024, and then Felix and I, just on our own like interest, were like browsing through the U.S. Patent Office's like list of trademarks within this class of supplements, looking for anything related to Day Saver to make sure that it wouldn't get caught. And we saw that there was another trademark under the same name in the same class filed on March 12th, the day before. And we were like what could this mean? Like, this is obviously a different company. Like, this is not us. Like, there is nothing remotely in this space with the same name. Yeah. So we thought it had to be a mistake. Mm-hmm. And so we talked to our lawyer and we're like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I thought you did a very comprehensive deep dive into the space to make sure there wouldn't be any infringement issues. And he was like, well, I wrapped up the research on March 11th. So essentially, this other company came in with the same name, same class, and filed the trademarks during that kind of window between when he wrapped up his research and when he filed the actual trademark. Yeah. And for context, like, a lot of these lawyers work on like an hourly rate, and they're not very transparent about how many hours go into a project like this. So, you never know. It can take like 20, 30, 40 hours apparently. And at that point, we were very limited in budget. We didn't have any revenue. We were bootstrapping. And I think like the bill for the trademark lawyer came out to like around $3,500, which at the time was very significant. I was on spring break actually with my other friends. Well, Felix was still in Korea, and I got the call, and I was like, oh my God, like, we need to find a way to get our money back. Like, we need to find a way to get a new name, like ASAP, because otherwise we can't move to the next step, which is packaging design. And so that was a major headache for us. Like, we really quickly, scheduled calls with our lawyer, did a ton of calls with other people to figure out what would be a new name that was going to convey the same message, but also could still work, and ended up on DayGuard, which honestly I think has a better ring to it now that I think about it. And we're able to get a discount from our lawyer for the next, comprehensive deep dive, and it kind of worked out. But that was some early drama. I think another one that is pretty interesting, I think, Felix, you can touch on, is earlier with our manufacturer.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem about doing business in Korea is that because you're so young, they don't treat you as seriously. And each of these manufacturers, they have their list of clients they got to take care of. And in terms of size, in terms of age, we're like at the bottom of that hierarchy. So I kind of felt like we weren't being, it was kind of slow. Everything was being delayed. Yeah. So we really had to show our commitment to it, to the people in the manufacturing office, so that they take us more seriously. So that was kind of difficult. But I think after we built more traction in our business, post-revenue, like they have more trust in us, so that like our new product order, like it's definitely faster than last time. So building the rapport is really important, I think.
Do you have some fake it till you make it kind of tips for acting a little bit more, like, I don't know, more adult? Like, I don't even know what it is, because I went through the same thing, because I was 23 when I started my company, and it was like nobody was taking me seriously.
What I do is like I put my hair up a bit, like jello. Like that works because it makes me look older. That's one. And I also know that when you send emails, instead of like 보내드립니다, like 송부드립니다 is like a classic Korean business phrase that like lets them signal that like we have done this before. So stuff like that, it's like the minor things, and that way they build more trust in you. Oh, these kids aren't just like 20-year-old college kids, but like they're really serious and they're smart. Like we had to build that trust. That was really difficult. And same goes with like all of these other stakeholders within our supply chain. Like our forwarding agency knew that we were college students, and it was a lot more slower. They didn't take us too seriously. So they were supposed to submit this FDA document themselves, and they were telling us, oh, we already submitted it, but it's just like they're not reviewing it properly. But it was taking like 2 weeks, and it was saying each day was going to cost $100 extra after the 10 days. So that really eats up in our margin. So from that on, I reached out to all of our mentors. We had someone that was really an expert in logistics. So she told me to go on the portal myself, and I did. And the agency didn't submit the FDA documents. It said, for the second and last time, please submit these documents. So I was like, I know. So we had to do that ourselves. So we realized, like, for any first time founders, as you said, you have to really fake it till you make it. Maybe even hide that you are a college student somehow, and that you're older than you really are. That could help.
Yeah, you can't really change your face, so that's difficult, because you gotta have, you should keep your youth as much as possible, but like certain things that you do, right? So after all these challenges, so you soft launched in January. It's June now when we're filming, and you guys hit 50K. Like, how did you do that? I know that you didn't put that much marketing budget in there, so like how'd you build up all of that traction and that consumer base?
Yeah, I mean, the two main channels we have are e-commerce and then some retail sales. In terms of e-commerce, most of our sales come from Amazon, which Felix will touch on, and then also through Meta ads. Meta has this incredible ad platform where you can upload creatives, put in a budget, and it will automatically find a good target demographic to send these creatives to across your Instagram feed, across Facebook. And we just put a lot of effort into making high quality creatives, making sure the ad engine was going to target our audience very tactfully, and taking our dollars like as far as they could, because obviously we're still like getting started and running on a limited budget. And then the other channel I mentioned was like offline sales. We do a lot of retail sales around colleges, like Brown. We sell at local bars and clubs, convenience stores and restaurants, and we do the same thing at like Georgetown and Dartmouth. I will say though, what was super important for us was trying to create like a community around the brand, especially because it's such a novel product in the US. There is no like hangover jelly stick that really exists and is known in the States. And so we really wanted to make sure that people felt like they were a part of the journey of building this company, a part of like the whole DayGuard family. And so we really wanted to make a lot of social media posts that highlighted people taking DayGuard, kind of showing what it looks like in practice, like whether it's at a party, at a pregame, at like a rooftop bar in New York, just so people could really envision what it'd be like to take the product. We also did a ton of things that don't scale. So for instance, like there was one night Felix came to visit me in New York, and we went to New York's K-Town, and we hit 50 different pochas and bars and norebangs. Every single one that was open that night on Korea Way on 32nd Street. And we went to every single place, handed the owner there like a DayGuard stick and one of those bakas little drinks, and just try to get their contact, try to get like a partnership so that we could sell retail to them. And that ended up working out pretty well for us down the road. And so it's just been a lot of just being very scrappy in the beginning.
One question that I also want to ask is, now that you're talking about the sticks in K-Town, I was just thinking, I remember when I was doing research for Hanjan as well, the conditioned sticks were coming into Korea at the time, right? I think it's still there. There's like, different types of sticks that are Korean originated, but then they change their name or something and then are in Korea, are in the States. I know you don't really fear competitors, but what are your thoughts on how you want to basically get the market share, like compared to like these already established brands that you've already experienced and actually got inspired by, right? And I think you guys already probably have an idea, so I just wanted to ask, like.
Yeah, I think a lot of these Korean conglomerate brands like Condition, they don't really understand the US market as much as we do, because Jeans grew up here and I lived there for a bit. And that's evident in like our Amazon like market share right now. If we search a hangover Korean jelly, like we're number one on Amazon already. And that's mainly because they don't know how Amazon operates. They don't really know how to do the search engine optimizations, not really know which keywords resonate with the American consumers. So I think while Korean conglomerates like Condition, they have like a more brand presence amongst like maybe Korean international students, maybe some Korean American people that like K-drama know it because it's in their like drama, like as an advertisement. But because our product is, first of all, better, because we have 3 times more hotge than the Korean products, and our packaging is a lot more resonating with the American audience, and we know how marketing works with college demographics in the US, and same goes with marketing in Amazon. It wasn't that difficult to take that market share in Amazon. And I think that's mainly because a lot of these Korean conglomerates, they're more conservative in their business tactics. They don't like to take risks. A lot of them are older. I know the point of contact for us in Condition, and Inouen, the manufacturer of Condition, was like someone in their late 30s. So they don't really understand the culture, long story short. Yeah.
And like, bottom-up research has been so pivotal and crucial for DayGuard from the start. Basically, it's funny because when I came back to Brown after studying abroad in Korea, when we first started the company, I brought back Condition and Sangkwehan and like all the market leaders. And I literally went out to bars and clubs and parties and handed out to different students, and I said, like, what do you like about the taste, the texture, the packaging? And everyone was confused about the packaging and the whole product concept, because even though some of them had English on them, it didn't make any sense to them. It might say hangover stick, but it still says 500 milligrams of hake in Korean. So they were just like, what is this? Like, how am I supposed to take this? Like, what is this? And so it just didn't resonate with Americans. Whereas we were able to aggregate all the results from the user feedback, because we had compiled it in like a type form, which is like a survey form that you fill on your phone. And we used that to then inform our manufacturer, our graphic designers, to create a product that was really tailored toward the American audience. And because of that, I think now when an American sees DayGuard versus like Condition, like it just feels more like an American product with a Korean twist, as opposed to like a foreign Korean product that feels like it's being jammed into an American market.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between corporate and startups, right? Like startups are on the ground, really listening to all of this customer feedback. And that's, when corporates are, different cases, but when corporates are trying to acquire startups, sometimes it's things that they cannot do, these details that, they're not able to kind of execute and like look into, that startups and founders can really pull into. And as you said, like some of these tactics don't scale. Like you can't go to Koreatown all the time, but there's so much valuable insight there that you can bring out of it, and so much story that comes out of it, which is so important, right? And I know that you guys are right now going through a rebranding. So tell me about that and like how that came about. I know you're also including things like milk thistle inside, which is different from hokkey. So tell me about how that rebranding is going and what's important there.
So I think what we did was, our revenue growth is good right now. We did 10K in April, 20K in May, but our retention rate is around 9 to 10%, and it's not bad. And we can also like optimize like email subscriptions to make sure it increases. But if you want to really hit the jackpot and go for a big exit down the road, it has to be around 20 to 30%. And I was thinking why our retention rate was a bit lower than market standard. And I was just talking to a lot of our customers on what they like and dislike a product, what type of demographic likes the product, what type of demographic doesn't like the product. And I've realized that even if we push for this very young branding, our packaging looks like a candy. Like it's very young, youthful, bright. Even if we go for that, like even if our UGC creators are all college students, our core loyal customers are people in their 30s, 40s, 50s that are health conscious but still like to drink. So we were like, wow, maybe we don't have the branding right 100%. We don't have the product market fit 100%. Like 20K, like 50K as of now, like those are good figures for a college like startup CPG brand. But we want to go bigger than that. We want to be like an industry leader and industry like creator. And what I've realized was we did a deep down into all the alcohol related supplements in the market. They break down into 3 categories. One is that they position themselves as a hangover cure. So just like what we're doing right now. 2 is they position themselves as a liver support kind of supplement. 3 is electrolytes, because Americans immediately associate hydration to hangover. So it's these 3 categories that we have to target. But the first one, we realized that the ones that do well there all have like a medical branding. Because Americans, I think if they think of a hangover cure, they think of medicine. And anything that looks like a medicine, branded as a medicine, they feel like it's going to work better for them. That's why the market leaders come in pills, like these prebiotic shots. They look very sciencey. But because we're a jelly, our positioning as a hangover cure isn't the best method. Secondly, liver support, it's a very niche problem. Like even the most health conscious person, they're not going to take 2 like liver support pills before they go out because they care about their health. It's too much niche of a problem. And number 3, electrolytes. Hydration is like a small portion of the damage that alcohol does to your body. And also the market is so saturated. So those 3 aren't like, they each have its pros and cons, but what's missing out there is all-inclusive comprehensive support for when you drink. So you can think of it as like an insurance policy for when you drink, like a policy. So when people go out for drinks, they're kind of guilty about the damage it's doing to your body. So we researched basically all the different facets of damage that it does to your body, like dehydration, deplenishes your B vitamins, damages your gut, damages your liver. And we put that all together into this new formula that we're working on right now. So we're going to be like the athletic greens for when you drink, basically.
For me, I think when we had our conversation, what really moved me was like when you were talking about pivots, because this in and of itself may be seen as a pivot. You call it rebranding, you call it pivot, whatever it is, you're doing it in order to go in a better direction. And you were talking about what pivots mean to you in terms of like, let's say for dollars, right? Like, do you want to share that again?
Yeah, I mean, I think you as a founder, like you need to be very comfortable with chaos and pivoting all the time. Like you should never be complacent, even if the sales are coming in. Like as Felix mentioned, like sales have been very good for us for a student CPG company. But we're really digging into the data and we see like our customer retention needs to be higher. How can we do that? So we immediately start talking to our customers again to really dig into what can we do better? Like, what are you missing out on right now with our current offering? What would you like to see in the future? And that needs to be perpetually happening. Like founders talking to customers, understanding how to continuously improve the company and the brand. And, you know, as Felix mentioned, you know, we had this customer retention problem, and we realized a lot of it was because like it's a hangover remedy. You know, a lot of college students in particular will binge drink, they'll do other things when they drink, and they think one little jelly is gonna mitigate all of that. And so it leads them to like a binary decision, like, did it work or did it not work? And chances are like you're gonna feel better. You will feel better, but not enough where like it's gonna mitigate 15 beers and some other whatever you were doing, you know? And so we recognize like it's super important to more like adopt this more wellness and health focused angle, this comprehensive all-in-one nutritional support for when you drink. That caters more to that core demographic that Felix and I were talking about. I also think it's more in line with our like broader goals of what we see DayGuard being, because down the road we want to expand to more product lines, different SKUs. We're coming with new flavors. We're exploring different like supplements that come in this stick form. And we want our company to be a health and wellness company, not like an alcohol supplement, you know? And we don't want to encourage people to like binge drink and feel like they can get away with it because they're going to feel good the next day. That's not at all what we want. But yeah, so I think to your point, like I think it comes down to being open-minded about where to take the company and recognizing that your customer is the source of all truth at the end of the day. So always talking to your customers.
The part I want you to also mention, I loved it. I think yesterday you were saying if this is like $100 million company, $1 million pivot doesn't mean anything. Yeah,
right.
I think that was a really good point. So
So yesterday we were talking about this whole idea of pivoting and how it's difficult. You know, like we had to rehaul our entire company in 2 weeks because we wanted to change our packaging and our formula. We literally came to Korea to talk to our manufacturer, and it's been stressful. You know, it's a lot of work. But the way I rationalize it in my brain is, you know, I see DayGuard being at least $100 million company. And I'm happy to do 100 pivots if need be. Cause like, if you tell me I have to do one more pivot for $1 million, like I'll happily do it. You know, I'm still a fresh undergrad. Like that's a lot of money for me. So, you know, I think when you think about it in those terms, like you kind of see like it's all steps in a bigger picture. It really makes it a lot more digestible and also just keeps you motivated like all throughout.
like I would love for people to watch this video or listen to the audio and just gain more confidence. Like, I think this energy that you're giving out, right? Like, I don't know, maybe because I'm in Korea, I think we think a lot about like what ifs, like what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? But what I love about talking to you guys is like, it's never about what if. It's like, okay, what next? You know, what can we do? Like, here's a problem. Well, let's solve it. Or like, what's going to happen? We're going to be $100 million business, right? I think that mentality is what you absolutely need as founders. And if anyone is trying to build something or wants to build something or thinks that it's in their blood, really these what ifs don't actually, you know, they don't mean anything. You just need to go and start something, right? And like on that note, you know, you guys are young. You guys are like going into the next stage of whatever you want to do. So like, what do you want to tell yourself? And like you guys are what now, like 25? 24. So like, what would you tell your 40-year-old self? Like, what would you love to tell your 40-year-old self?
Well, it's usually the other way around, right? Like,
Yeah. I'm going to ask you the other one too, but.
The other way around. I hope you never, I hope you never lost a sense of having fun with what you're doing. Because for us right now, like, it's a lot of work, but it's so much fun, you know? Like, I wake up every day and, like, it sounds counterintuitive, but I'm excited to do stuff for DayGuard. And I think that's a huge reason why we're able to move so quickly, why we're so confident in what we're doing. And I can only see that sense of, like, momentum and fulfillment only increasing as we get deeper into the business. But I really hope my 40-year-old self doesn't burn out and very much continues to like ride this wave, because I only see life getting better and better, you know?
See? I love this energy. All right, Felix.
I think another thing is like, I mean, if you like walk around the street and you see all these buildings or these nice cars or like anything, like someone made that. you know, like a human being made that. So why can't you create something novel as well? Like we're starting with a jelly stick, you know, take baby steps, but take the steps.
And 40-year-old Felix, what do you want to tell 40-year-old Felix?
It's kind of in a similar way. I would want 40-year-old myself to like never lose that energy to try new things. And I don't want to be caught up in prestige ever again. Like the whole way I wanted to chase an Ivy League school, like a prestigious job, like private equity. I think we're gonna have some like temptations as we make DayGuard work, as it becomes successful. We have all that money, we care about prestige again. I want to like remind myself it's not about that. It's all about where you feel the most amount of fulfillment, and remind myself like don't be complacent. Let's find another DayGuard. We can make it work.
Yeah. Absolutely love that.
On that note, I just like I would also like to say to my 40-year-old self, please never make it about the money. It's never been about the money for us, genuinely. Obviously, that is what sustains and grows the business. But for us, it's bigger than that. It's creating something from nothing, having a legacy for our families, something that makes our parents proud and what will sustain our children. Another thing I think we both want to tell our 40-year-old selves is don't neglect family, right? Because it's really easy when you're really deep in the trenches to like kind of put the blinders on and just really get locked in on what you're doing. And I think that's great when you're 24, but we both want kids down the road. We both want families. Like our parents mean everything to us. And so I want to make sure that I can provide what they provided to me down the road without just being sucked into work.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. These are questions that I ask successful entrepreneurs as well, as how did you balance it? And a lot of them at the end of the day can't answer it because it's the hardest thing, right? So you got to make rules. You really have to commit to it as much as you commit to work. You have to commit to family and your personal life. And I think that's something like you just need to tell yourself. And if that value stays and you're telling, I think I love this exercise because you then start to imagine what you would look like at that age. And you're like, ooh, how fun. And you're like, hey, this guy's fun. This guy has family time. Like this guy is not like, held up in prestige. Like how great is that, right? And you guys will start anticipating even more like what will come. It's not just like after like your exit in the next how many years, but it's like what you guys would be doing later on. So I think that's such a beautiful kind of picture. And I kind of want to wrap up with a very so for us, for On Chair, we end up with a statement called to sit is to blank. And so to sit is like whether you see it as work or because usually you sit when you work, right? Then what does that mean to you, right? Is what we kind of want to do. So think on that for 10 seconds. To sit is to blank for you and what that means to you.
I think maybe I kind of think about sitting as when you really contemplate on what you want to do. So maybe to sit is to kind of come up with your purpose. I think luckily I found my purpose in the past couple of years to create new ventures, and I want more people to really sit down and think about what they really like and enjoy, less of what other people want them to be. So I think to sit is to gain purpose. Yeah.
And Gene?
Yeah, I think in a similar vein, I think to sit is to create. I think it's a privilege to be healthy and to be able to work. And I think it's the coolest thing that you get to sit down and in a few hours you can create something. For instance, like one part of our business is social media. Like I can sit down in my chair and create a video that reaches thousands of people and hopefully maybe even inspires other people to do stuff. What you're doing with this podcast, I think is so cool because we're sitting in these chairs and we can hopefully reach an audience. And I would love to inspire some like younger Korean guys and girls, Korean Americans, like, why not start that business? Why not go all in on that hobby? Why not like do something that you're not going to regret on your deathbed, And so very similar to Felix, I think it's an opportunity to like create something net new and find meaning in that.
Yeah, I think the message should be like, I tell this when I go to do like guest speaker talks to like Brown University people that want to do entrepreneurship in the future. I tell them like, if I can do it, like all of you guys can do it. Like I'm a terrible computer science student. I'm not special. So I tell them like, just do it. Just have that irrational confidence and just do it. Because if I can do it, everyone else can. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming in today. I hope our sitting turns into something inspirational for anyone who's watching out there. And I look forward to the new DayGuard, and I hope everyone tries it because it's a great product, you know? Thanks for coming, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you for having us,
Thank you.
Jasmine.
Thank you.